They always kept questioning me, oh, was City Lights just a fluke? And in those years was so difficult because I also started thinking, oh, it was just a fluke.
Hi everyone, I'm Isha Manyar for Cosmo India, and joining us today is the very fabulous, very lovely Patralekhaa. Thank you so much for joining us. And the film only came out on Friday, where you're playing Savitri Bai Phule. How did this role come to you, and what went through your mind when you first heard about it, you were first offered it?
So the role actually came to me, I think, during the pandemic while we were all sitting home. And then I got on a Zoom call with Anand sir, the director of the film.
Yeah.
And then he narrated me the film, and I quite liked it. Then he sent me the script, and the script was this fat. I don't even remember how many hundreds of pages was it. And I was like, are you making it a series or it's a movie? He's like, no, this is all the work, that I've done, but I'm going to make it about 100, 120 odd pages. But it's just for you to know the things that they have done all their lives. And I read it, and they're such icons, right? They are gods in Maharashtra. So that was quite bewildering that, like, I'm a girl from Northeast, I'm a Bengali, and somebody thought of me to play Savitri Bai Phule.
But portraying Savitri Bai, who is a pioneer of women's education in India, it must have been both challenging and inspiring. What do you think was the most daunting aspect of the role?
The things that they have done for the society, it's unfathomable to even think of it today. And just to live their life and to play her, because like I said, no matter whatever you do, it's always going to be less. But I wanted to go through this journey, and why not? Yeah, how many actors in their lives get to play a biopic, and I really consider myself lucky.
Your roles have always been super unconventional. Has there ever been a moment where you were like, maybe I should take up something a little more conventional? Maybe I should take up something more massy, and then immediately said, nope, not happening?
Honestly, my career started with a very unconventional role. I was like some 24. And when you're that young, you don't think about playing a mother's part because you're fresh off college and you're like, this is, I'm going to go there, dance and, kill it. But I don't know, I think these kind of roles did choose me. And maybe I have such an earthy look that people kind of box me into these roles. And I feel I'm also very comfortable doing these parts.
How do you generally approach the smaller things about creating a character? Like, I'm not just talking about this one where I'm quite aware that you had very little visual cues to go on. You had no archival footage, you had no photographs.
Yeah.
What is your process to build a character?
I don't have a process, I don't like seeing archival footage. If it's a remake, I wouldn't like watching the movie because I feel like it kind of restricts my creation of the character. Of course, I'll do my reading, I'll sit with my co-actors, with my director and understand their vision. But I feel like once I go on the set, it will take me 2-3 days to actually figure out, where it's going, who she is, who's this person. And because you're living them day in and day out for a very long period of time, you start understanding them after a period of 4-5 days. So the first 3 days I'm literally blank. And I understand, oh, these are my first 2-3 days, and I'm still like when I watch myself. So the process is, as I'm on that journey of filming, I try to figure out who they are. And it's very surreal that at some points, it doesn't happen every time with every character, but sometimes you're like, oh shit, I think I just got her. I know who she is.
Yeah. What's it like being an actor in today's landscape where everything is overanalyzed? It's kind of put under a microscope all the time. Do you feel
It's
a lot
like
of
we're on
pressure?
steroids, right?
Yeah, it's like everyone has an opinion and they must give it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to listen to their opinions mostly because also I can understand what's right and what's wrong. I mean, I have that kind of perspective, I feel, about myself. So I happily take the ones that I feel, yes, I need to work on them, and others are just like utter noise and I just shut it off. But I feel like over the last 10 years, I've developed a very thick skin. And also my journey has been really tough, right? So that's given me a lot of strength.
Let's talk about how you said your journey's been really tough.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It's been tough as in, getting work in the initial phase of my career was really difficult. The work that I'd liked, people didn't see me in a certain light. They always kept questioning me, oh, was City Lights just a fluke? And actually, in those years was so difficult because I also started thinking, oh, it was just a fluke. Perhaps that's why I'm not breaking in, or how you're always like compared to others,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody has a journey and you will get there sooner or later. So that's why having faith in yourself, I feel, is like so important.
Tell us about your experience of working on this film, dynamics between your co-star Pratik Gandhi, who plays Jyoti Rao, and the director Anant Mahadevan. Give us the BTS gossip, some fun things that happened behind the scenes, very unfooled things.
Okay, so we were shooting during the scorching summer months in Maharashtra, interiors of Maharashtra, and we were staying in this guest house. Nothing was available. That was the best thing that could have been provided to us. So, and I was cribbing, and the moment you enter that surrounding, there's no network, zero network. So I was like, great. I mean, first I'm staying here, there's no network in between the jungles. So the first 2-3 days, I was very uncomfortable. And Pratik was like, Jane de, it's all good, be in the moment. My director was like, yeah, be in the moment. And then after 2-3 days, I was like, okay, this is what it is, let's just have fun. So I went to shoot and hear that something's happened. So I call my hair person and I'm like, what's happened, Arbaz? He's like, नहीं, कल रात को प्रतीक भैया जब अपने रूम में आए उन्होंने AC ऑन किया and there was a snake dangling. I was like, what? And then everybody told, just don't tell Patralekhaa because she's going to run away. And I was like so livid. I spoke to my director. My director is like, no, nothing like that has happened. I spoke to Pratik. Pratik started laughing. Yeah, so that was one incident that I'll never forget. And I'm like petrified of snakes.
No, that's a great story. This film dives into education and equality. And I want you to tell me something that you wish wasn't taught to girls growing up. You went to a girls' school.
I did. So, actually I went to a girls' school, then I went to a co-ed school, and I flipped back to a girls' school. So when I flipped back, I was like 17 for 11th and 12th. And I thought it was quite uncomfortable because my class was filled with only girls. So the couple of initial months were like a little weird because I was so accustomed to being with boys around me because also I was in a boarding school and my boarding school was a co-ed school, and I made such amazing guy friends back in the school who are still my friends. I really lucked out that my parents, these are the things when you're young you don't choose. It's your parents' choice. And I come from a matriarchal family, and I come from Shillong, that I'm so proud that I was born there. And it makes so much of a difference when you're born into matriarchal families, that everything is just being equal. And I never thought that there was a difference between being a boy and a girl until I really actually grew up and became like, 20, 21. I really wish that every young girl and young guy, understand the meaning of friendship and just like growing up together.
Right.
See, being with a brother is quite different. Having guy friends is really, really different.
I think it also opens a conversation to have more feminism in place.
Absolutely.
When you have more people around you who can be part of that conversation.
And I feel more than the girls, the boys also become very empathetic towards the other gender.
Yeah, because the
Which
more
usually
exposure.
more exposure.
What was the dynamic, according to you, like between Jyoti Rao and Savitri Bai? And did you see any similarities in your own relationship, or do you think it was just a different time
Actually,
then?
that's a really good question that you've asked me. Now that you're asking me, I'm thinking about it. Savitri was very young when she got married to Jyoti Bai, And Jyotiba saw that she was really interested in studying, in education, in books. And Jyotiba was studying, and Jyotiba was literally Savitribai's first teacher, a teacher who taught her, and their bond, I think they were, more than anything, again, they were best of friends, because they literally grew up together. I think that's the same thing with me and Raj. I didn't go to an acting school, and I really, back then, I was so naive. So when I first met Raj, I mean, I was so inspired by the sheer love that he had for his craft, and how he was dedicated. And I was so curious that he taught me a lot, you know. So I think that's the similarity, and also I feel like we both are best friends.
Did you always know you wanted to be an actor?
Well, yeah, when I was a teenager, you're doing all these plays and dancing on the stage, which just seems like I can do this. So obviously that must be like a cakewalk, right? Until and unless actually I came to Mumbai, I honestly came to Mumbai not to become an actress. I came to Mumbai because I didn't want to study in Bangalore anymore, and Shillong was not an option to go back. So my parents were like, why don't you just go to Mumbai? It's safer for girls. And back then Bangalore had become a little unsafe. I was studying in HR college, and that's when I met my friend, who's still my friend, who was a casting director. And I was like so curious, what's a casting director? What do you do? And because of him, I started getting ads, going for ads, auditions, and that's when it actually began.
What's the most you've ever taken away from a character that stayed with you the longest? Do you ever think that you've been permanently altered by a character you've played?
Yeah, I think it has to be Savitribai Phule. Her determination, her grit, her fearlessness, and the things that they have accomplished in their life, it's very, very inspiring. And I'm like, if they can do it, why can't we do it?
What's one totally modern day rule or norm that you think is meant to be broken?
Educate your girls, educate your boys, so that there's equality.
Yeah. And you're quite a few films old now, and you've already portrayed this icon. What are you manifesting for the future?
I don't know, just good scripts, really good directors, good stories, that's all. I think I want to do something easy, something light.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we end this interview, we're going to do a few quick-fire questions, Cosmo style. If we peeked into your notes app right now, what's the most chaotic or random thing we'd find?
I think the things that I need to order for my kitchen.
So groceries and stuff like that.
Yeah. Chaotic, not in order, just like nonsense scribbled on it.
Okay. What's one totally irrational but oddly specific thing that gives you the ick? You can't stand it.
The last time my elevator was under renovation, and it had like lots of circles, brown patches. And I think that kind of triggers something. I just couldn't get in that elevator.
The last time you felt really, really cool, what were you doing and what were you wearing?
I mean today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm feeling really like myself today.
Okay, and you're wearing a sari, so that's
and
great.
I think sari is I feel really comfortable in sari.
If Savitribai were alive today, what modern day cause do you think she'd champion on social media?
I think girls' education.
Okay.
I think this is still a real issue that India is still dealing with, because mostly our child doesn't go to a school because the toilets are so far, and they have to walk for kilometers and kilometers, and then they end up going to school and there are no toilets, right? And also, like, in so many places we are still killing the girl child. So that would be another cause that she would still be fighting for.
One line you wish every woman would say to herself more.
I am complete.
That's a great one and an important reminder
Yeah.
always. Okay, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us,
Thank you.
Patralekhaa. It was lovely to have you here.
Yes, my pleasure.